What's up, everybody? This is Anthony Rosa, Mr. Remedy, and you are watching another show on the Round Table Remedies. And I'm super excited for our cast tonight. We're talking about gratitude, trials, and tribulations. What does gratitude mean to you? But first, I want to give it up to our speakers tonight, and in speaker rotation, allow them just to say hello and introduce themselves. Chrissy?
What's everybody? This is Chrissy Keys, your dancing realtor, reporting to you live from my red room in Asbury Park. Hello, all.
Thank you, Chrissy, for coming on. And in speaker rotation, Maria?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Rosarabia, and I'm coming to you live from Bloomingdale, New Jersey. I'm excited to be here, and I can't wait to get started.
Absolutely. And then anchoring us in for tonight, Carly. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for the invite, and it's a pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Carly Carrera, and I'm a realtor here in New Jersey, covering Essex County and specializing in new construction. And I'm in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And tonight's topic, this is definitely something to talk about, embracing the bumps and bruises. Roundtable Remedies was created to inspire, connect, and educate people, real stories. And, we like to kind of share some of the struggle to inspire, connect, and educate those that might be going through the same thing. So, all month long, we've been talking about gratitude. And what does gratitude look like for you? So, if you're watching on the live, we would like for you to engage and comment right now. So, comment live. And if you're watching on the replay a little bit later on, that's okay. Comment replay. And so, embracing the bumps and bruises, trials and tribulations, gratitude is the conversation. Chrissy, I appreciate you coming on the call and sharing with us your story and what you've gone through. And so, please share with us some of your trials and tribulations.
Oh boy, where do I start? Don't we all have trials? So I'm just gonna take us back. I don't know if there's a little bit of a glitch because I'm getting a little bit of that. So bear with me. I'm just gonna keep talking. But as we all, go through stuff in life, I just want to take me back in a time where I was going through graduate school, University of Medicine, Dentistry. I had a inspiring career ahead of me in the field of psychiatry, and I felt like the world was like there was no end to what I could do. That was my year. We're talking about 2012. And let's just say there was a lot of things that I had aspired for myself that I was going to set up. I was in the mental health field for about 10 years at that time, and I knew I was going to go into some directorship or work for another type of organization to expand my my education, my so on and so forth. I'm rambling a bit, but let's get into some of the things that happened. Unfortunately, 2012, as much as it was supposed to be my year, it was also the year that I had some hardships. I had previously, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, stemming from accidents, vehicle accidents, motor vehicle rather, and I had another situation where my body kind of gave out on me, and that was the year that let's just say a mysterious illness landed on Chrissy, and Chrissy did not get to finish her master's. Chrissy also did not continue with her, in the field of psychiatry or psychology. She lost her job due to the fact that she couldn't move. And I'm using myself in the third person, but I had a lot of hiccups at that time. And it was just a moment where I felt it was so dark. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. It was a mysterious. It was mysterious. Went through all sorts of doctors, didn't know what to do, cocktail medications. On one point, I couldn't even walk. Let's just put it that way. And I was on Social Security. That's how bad it got for me. From 2012, 2013, how quickly it shifted. No job. My career is over. Education that I was supposed to complete my master's, and I couldn't even formulate a sentence. That's how crazy my life had turned. Fast forward, I eventually got away from paternalistic medicine. I tried to use my voice because I refused to just live like this. I was like, I cannot be Chrissy, Mrs. Dancing Realtor that I'm now known. I love to dance. And that was something that was so hard for me. I couldn't freaking move. and it would kill me, to not be in the light, to see people happen to you, your spark is gone. And I was just like, I lost some time there. And this was a fight for me for about 2 years. And it wasn't until, within that time frame, I decided, what, I'm going to work small things first. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm not going to continue to take this medication that, obviously wasn't helping me. I'm going to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. And well, eventually I didn't wear the diagnosis, but I had what we call chronic regional pain syndrome, which is a neurological condition that attacks, your system. And there's a lot of stresses and it's a lot of nerves. And long story short, I worked with a very good chiropractor. He gave me hope. I prayed a lot. I did some spiritual healing. I detoxed from all that medication, as I said before. And I decided to, what, I'm not going to be on, I'm not going to stay around and be disabled. I have to do something with myself. I have to live. I have to move on. And lo and behold, I eventually fell into real estate because I knew I was a people person. I wanted to help. I went from nonprofit to for-profit. I mean, I know it was a little stressful. Like, Chrissy, why would you do that? Why would you go from this and go to real estate? I got anything in mind, but I needed something to feel good. I needed some flexibility, and I needed to find my purpose again. And so this is my path at that time, and it helped, just being able to change my life around, to find a new career path, to find successes in the small steps, to be able to walk again and talk, and to find myself a voice, and to be me again, or a new me, was something that I felt was needed. And I really did have the supports of good family and friends that didn't give up on me, and truly find an inner strength within myself. A lot of conversations with God, not all pretty. Sometimes I was damning, like, what the hell? Why me? But then you have to turn around, like, why not me? Is it crystal clear right now? Is everything great for me all the time? No, but I will say this: I have a lot more good days than I do bad, and I'm thankful for that. That's where the gratitude comes in, So coming from you can't walk, you have a hard time sitting, let alone doing anything else, and being able to be in a position where I'm helping people, even though obviously, there's some challenges at times. This is what makes it important for me, and this is why I'm so grateful. And I wanted to share my story.
Now, Chrissy, I want to say thank you so much because you just shared a really vulnerable time in your life, and I just want to acknowledge that and just say thank you. You touched on something: more good days than bad. I don't know about you, but sometimes I used to generalize, right? I'll have a couple of good things that happen in the day, one bad thing, and now my whole day is ruined. And it was really hard for me to try to, in my mind, um, tell myself, okay, was this a good day or was this a bad day? Right. So, how did you kind of get out of from where you were? I mean, you talked about a support system, working on the small stuff. Do you find, was it a little bit of everything? It's not just one thing that's kind of get you from where you are to where you want to be.
It wasn't just one thing, but I will say this: I refuse to be wear a disability. I refuse to be something, or I needed to reach out. I was sick of being sick. Let's put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I had this fire within, and like, I'm gonna give it all I got. I'm like, I'm not gonna be 30-something years old,
You're
and
not a
just, this is
quitter.
it. I'm gonna be on Social Security, and this is it. I'm like, no, this is not how I can see myself. I'm still a lover. I'm still a fighter. I'm still this. I just needed to get out of myself. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I was deep in my feels, and I still have my moments too, depression, all that. But that, like I said, I was sick of being sick. I was tired of it. And I just was like, every time somebody told me no or gave me a diagnosis, that just fueled me. Like, you know what? The hell with you. What your thoughts are, what you think or don't think. I'm me. And I know I there's something there, and I know I could there's a something else that can help me. Whatever it is, and I eventually, because I manifested it and I prayed to God, I was like, what the hell? And eventually, slowly but surely, the less they touched me, the better I got. And so I am, like I said, it's a little bit of everything, mind over matter too. But I must say, a lot of freaking praying.
Mm.
I don't think I've
Maria,
cried.
that definitely that made you like nod your head. That prayer part is that a big piece for you?
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You got to believe in prayers.
You got to believe in a higher power for
You
sure.
do. There's
I
a
mean,
moment where you have to realize this is how much I can do, and this is how much I have to just leave it on to God.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Or seek
And you have the
strength
faith.
from
You
him.
can't just
Or seek the strength from him. Yeah.
yeah,
exactly with faith.
yeah.
Mhm.
You can pray all
And
you want.
it's super easy to just continue to pile on our plates and pile and just kind of not really fix the things that we're going through, and then sometimes ignore what's important to doing other things that we think are equally important when they're really not.
You're
Right.
really not.
And also time to like ground yourself and have a little silence so you can hear God's message. So you can like
Wow.
listen to the signs and hear him
That's what's up.
speaking to you.
Yeah.
So like I think that is a lesson that I think I took the time to learn in 2023 for me is like just having time with me, isolating a little bit and getting more in touch with me, discovering what I need to work on and what I need to heal and why I need help to seek for, and also to just ground and be one with nature and kind of like connect with the earth and like have God speak to you. God will talk to you. He will bring peace over you when you have certain thoughts to give you the answer that you need on a decision or whether you should proceed or whether you should start, So it's so important for us to start realizing that in that chaos, in that fog of the stress, of the worry and everything else, sometimes you just need to detach yourself. And my friends always make fun of me because they're like, oh, Carly just loves going to the beach. But really, that is my number one grounding spot for me.
It
There's
is.
nothing more grounding than walking the floor of the ocean that God
Listen to the
created.
ocean.
It's the
Good.
cleanse, it's the purity, it's everything. So
This-
for me, that's my mental health and my way to kind of like work on me and get to a better place.
Also,
Let me
listen
ask
to
the
the
audience, those that are watching right now, what are some ways that you ground yourself? Is it going for a walk or is it praying, right? We're having this conversation, but it's not easy to have these vulnerable conversations. And so we want to engage with those that are watching. Chrissy, you brought up some amazing points, and I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're going to hear a little bit more from you during the final thoughts part of the show. And please stay on and engage with the show. But Maria, I I really had the chance to speak with you one on one, and you kind of share with me your day to day, and I'm really excited for everyone to hear your story. So please share with us trials and tribulations, talking about gratitude.
gratitude, trials and tribulation. I'm going to take it to this analogy. Before we can embrace the rainbow, we have to have weathered the storm.
Amen.
And to, right, Carly? And to
Amen.
be grateful
Damn.
for those
You
beautiful
got it right there. Somebody got it right
with
there.
our smile and our personality, it's
Write
being
that down. Brace
expressing gratitude, right, for weathering the storm. So what does that
I
mean
want
to
that on a
me?
t-shirt.
I'm going to take it way back to when I was a little girl, living in Dominican Republic. Nice. All of a sudden, we're going on vacation, and I'm thinking it's just vacation. We're coming back home. No, we were coming to America, and everything was left behind, and now we're living at our cousin's house for like 9 months.
How old are you?
7.
Oh my
And by
God.
the way, today's Dominican Independence Day. So
Damn.
Shout out to the
Yes, he
Dominicans, all
was.
the
I saw that.
Dominicans watching.
speaking of that, we come here. It was very,
Dummy.
very,
Now
very
I know I'm gonna
challenging.
hit you up for some sancocho.
Yes. O la bandera, habichuela y carne.
Uh-huh.
So it was very difficult, I have to say. For my parents, especially, they don't know English. They didn't have jobs. We lived at somebody's house. I'm a little 7-year-old girl going to school, getting picked on, didn't know the language. It was very challenging, but I knew that if I put myself forward and I pay attention and I'd stay after class to finish my homework, talk to the teachers, I would eventually learn English and move on, right? So I did that. Fast forward on to years later, my parents, after working 2 jobs and me being home alone with my brothers and sisters and stuff, it was very challenging. But I did embrace those bumps and bruises because it gave me character. It gave me motivation of being a hustler, coming out here and working. I work all night, all day. I was telling Anthony on our one-on-ones, like, I don't stop. It's built within me, because that's what my parents did. Eventually they made it, to a comfortable standard. My dad had his own business in Hackensack. He was a mechanic. And my mom, worked in different salons and stuff. Eventually, when they made it really comfortable, unfortunately, they got divorced. I'm graduating high school. I'm going to college. Before the ink and on the divorce can dry, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it was either go away to college or stay home and take care of my mom and grow up and raise my brother and my adopted sister. So I did just that. The right thing to do. I had to stay home, work. I couldn't go to school right away. All my friends were going to college. That was my dream. I had a vision when I got to the States and I finally learned English that I am going to rise and I am going to make it. I am going to be a businesswoman like my dad. It didn't turn out to be that way. So I had to pivot. I got jobs, 2 jobs, took care of my mom, helped raise my brother, took her to chemo. She got well. Thank God she survived. Throughout that time, I met my husband. Now I have 2 kids, 2 beautiful kids, and still career was important to me, but college was not on the agenda at the time. I had to make sure that I had get a good paying job. We were young parents. I ended up working at AT&T Wireless, worked my way up. And I call that my hard school of knots. I learned so much in that call center, moving my way up, without nobody really teaching me, just being me, taking all the opportunities that came across me within, and raising those bumps and bruises, and just being strong and showing up. Well, that led to eventually having baby number 2, and then resign. I was home. I was a stay-at-home mom. While being a stay-at-home mom, not understanding how to just stay home, I enrolled my daughter in preschool, and here I am now. I'm the preschool teacher. So they offered me a job. I was working there for 5 years, the best years of my life, I have to say. Not only was I the preschool teacher, but now I'm playing catch up with my son and being a part of the PTA and showing up at the school dances and chaperone and all that great stuff. After that, when they got a little older, I said, okay, it's time for me. And I know that I had that desire within me to continue school and finish school, get my degree, and get even a better job eventually. So I did just that. My son was in high school. And this is something I don't really talk about. This is something that I keep,
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. He was in high school. My daughter was in elementary, going to middle school. And here I am working full time, going to college at night, being a mom, a wife, and all that. It wasn't easy. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Give you some props. Let's do it.
You did it.
I found strength within, and I just focused.
Women are miracles. They are amazing.
Yes. I just focused on the finish line, and I focused on what that was going to do for me and my family. And that was the motivation that I found within to, again, weather the storm, to embrace a rainbow. And I did just that. I started part-time, and then I went full-time. When I went full-time, I then went online, because now I'm taking away too much time away from home. But online, that was a sacrifice of me giving up my Friday, Saturday nights, Sundays. So Friday nights was homework all day, all evening. 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I would wake up to write my papers, do all my work. Sunday, submit for the next week. And then during my lunch at work, it was responding to the discussion board, reviewing my notes, doing the research for the paper for Friday night to Saturday morning, just prepping my work for the weekend. It wasn't easy. Every moment I got, I was studying. And I got it done. Make long story short, right after that, I got promoted I ended up going back to full-time employment, not at the preschool, but I ended up working at a financial institution. From there, I started from the bottom again, but I worked my way up, and the degree was definitely something that helped me get where I am today. 10 and a half years later, after being in that specific financial institution, which I'm not going to mention, I'm now at JP Morgan Chase, and I'm a community manager. And my main role is to provide financial literacy education and provide resources to those families who came from the on the who came from their countries, right? Like
Right.
my
Wow.
did when I was a little girl. So
Yeah.
talk about embracing the bumps and bruises. I
For
now
real.
provide assistance and help and support through JP Morgan Chase backing me up with not-for-profit organizations within my community to be able to uplift them and remember my struggles. And I always say to myself, there's one quote that I always say: "We rise by lifting others."
Yep.
There's
Full
no better
circle.
feeling, and that's why I say, Anthony, I work crazy hours, nights, weekends, and all that. It doesn't feel like work. It
Full
doesn't feel like
circle.
work.
It came full circle.
It's a full circle. I give back. I remember what my parents went through. I remember what I went through, and now
Mhm.
I'm that person, be able to provide those opportunities for those families that went through that. So
Yeah.
it's just a nice way to close the loop. So
You know,
speaking of gratitude, I can't be any more grateful.
that's right.
That's
That's
beautiful. That's so
And you
beautiful.
know, and look, just to kind of point out for those that are watching, right? If you're going through a tough time, just because you're going through a tough time doesn't mean it's gonna last forever, right?
No,
No.
And you know, Maria, with your story about what you're talking about, you didn't have the choice when your mom decided to leave the Dominican Republic. And I
it was
can only
For the
imagine
money.
some of the questions, the concerns, the fear, the language barrier. And then you talked a little bit about people teasing you. You know, how did you persevere through some of those trials and tribulations where, as somebody would feel that this is just bad luck? Somebody might say that, oh, you know, why me? Why do bad things happen to good people, right? We hear that all the time.
yeah.
How did you turn your, your challenge into an opportunity?
Well, that's it goes back to the beginning of the session when I said that there's a time in life when you have to have faith and understand when you just have to leave it to God. I knew deep down that if, as a little girl, that if I was to have faith within me, faith within my beliefs and my, I'm Catholic, in my religion, there was a God there. And I knew there was going to be, if I persevere, I was going to be successful. And I am. So I
Mhm.
can't, it's just something that I just knew as a little girl. And now as a mom, and I coach cheerleaders too, which I also, when
Right.
they had their times, their tough times. When you coach a lot of girls, there's drama. So
Right.
there's times that I was there, not just being a coach, but a mom too. And even my daughter now, she's now 18. And those are things that I teach her. And those are the examples that I share with her and let her understand that, you can have a bad moment or a few bad moments in a day, but that doesn't mean your day is ruined. You don't have a bad day. It's just a bad moment
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we have somebody that's watching and they say, I hear the pain in your voice, ladies. And the key thing I'm taking from all of you is making a sacrifice. You see, that sacrifice we make in the darkness is what brings us to the light.
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
a question, regarding sacrifice. You mentioned your career. Now, this is a question for women, and this is going to be a little bit of a curveball, but this is real and raw, right on the round table. Do you feel that in the industries that you're in banking and in real estate, do women get the respect that they deserve? Maria, you'll start, and then I want to go around.
I have to say the times have changed. I have to say when my mother was going through it, after she cured cancer, she went back to school and became a nurse to help other women going through the same thing. So it's a beautiful story.
Beautiful.
It was difficult for her. She was Hispanic, she had an accent when she spoke. It was hard. Me coming up in the ranks when I started AT&T Wireless, it was kind of difficult. I was again Hispanic. I am not blonde blue hair, blonde blue eyes, but I didn't care. I was resilient, and I knew that what I brought to the table, and I just kept going.
Yep.
And today's world, I have to say, with my prior employer before Chase, I being Hispanic and brown, dark skin, black hair, I
You
was
being
still
beautiful. Being
I was still
beautiful.
able to embrace um it was able to push forward, and I wanted to see diversity on the higher ups. And within myself and a few colleagues, we came up with an organization called OLA, Organization for Hispanic Leadership Achievement. And that was really to help the employees within move up. And I wanted to see color, and also to help the communities of color. We felt that we were also the bank for all at the time. And with all that, we went out there, we provided volunteerism, we provided financial literacy and all the good stuff. And that's when this opportunity that with Chase came about, which is now is my full-time job.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, Carly, what do you think in male-dominated industries? Do you think women get the respect they deserve? You know, banking, real estate, etc.
I mean, it's hard to kind of like speak on all those industries because I deal with banking in a very limited sense as far as just like financing for homes and investments.
Hmm.
But I would say that it does still very much exist as far as it being, difficult to kind of like golf with the big guys on the course and kind of get the same amount of business that they exchange with their male partners. But I feel that now more than ever, women are definitely becoming more of a stronger force to be reckoned with at the
Mm,
conference room table, as entrepreneurs, as investors. I mean, single women are owning more homes than men these days.
Mm-hmm.
it's true.
Statistically, it's shown. I think it's like 217 million more. Like it's not even like a low number. So I think that that's something that's speaking of our progress. But I think that there's still a ways to go. There's still some
Oh
improvement to be
yeah.
made. Um,
Absolutely.
it's an ongoing thing. Like you didn't build Rome in a day. So hopefully the future generations keep on striving and making different accomplishments to make us break those glass ceilings in order for us to advance. Because I feel like that's really the way to make your mark is you have to like break the record and kind of like blow them out of the water so they know like, okay, I'm here and I'm not to be like taken down. So I think that it will be hopefully within our children's or grandchildren's time we will see it
Yeah.
come to
Mm-hmm.
fruition. But I think women are killing it.
Mhm.
I think
Right.
they're
We're
amazing.
strong individuals.
Don't
They
call it a
are.
comeback. No, I'm just joking.
Listen,
We don't
if
give
you could
up.
have a kid, you could get through anything. I don't want to hear any excuses.
And honestly, nothing more beautiful than women empowering women.
Oh,
If
beautiful.
you
Yes.
listen to Patty,
Finally, I
Not
feel like
pulling
that's
each
now
other
becoming a
up.
vibe. I
right?
feel like that's now finally like before there was a lot of like mean girl syndrome,
Competition,
but I
ego.
feel like now it's more like collaboration and
Exactly.
joining and partnering and doing it together, supporting each other.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so, we're talking about embracing the bumps and bruises, trials and tribulations, and we're talking about some vulnerable parts. And Chrissy, in regards to male-dominated industries. Do you feel that you or women in general are getting the respect that they deserve?
Well, that's a blanket. I mean, I can't just make one statement. I can, take a little bit piggyback of what Maria and Carly said. I mean, I have limited capacity to, financials and just overall, from my experiences, because I'm going to say mine. I can see that there's progress. I believe that there's certainly a means for some improvements to be had. Obviously there's, as Carly mentioned in as an example, the golf course and having our counterparts making those deals. But I mean, women, they also in the other side of things, they're killing it. I mean, we're seeing more entrepreneurship, we're seeing more chances, more homeowners, taking on we're putting on our big woman pants. It's not just, hey, well, the man is going to bring home the bacon. No, we're coming in and we're doing our thing. And I know in real estate, I mean, we have a lot of women realtors out there, and obviously, I see a lot of progress. But again, just to speak on that, yes, it can be different. There can be changes like anything, and hopefully,
Mhm.
one
Yeah,
day we'll see that.
we're balancing the playing field a little bit more better.
We have a comment here. A
We
candle
love that.
loses nothing by lighting another candle in.
And more.
Sounds like something Darwin would say. I wonder
That's
if he
actually a
wrote
Darwin quote.
Darwin.
Is that
Darwin.
the
Can I tell
guy?
you?
Darby.
Darwin.
Light,
That's
light
why we get
will
him
be.
undercover.
The stronger the light will be. I totally.
You know,
But
and I,
you makes you stronger. No?
oh boy, we're getting the dancing realtor started. It's almost that time, right? It's almost that. But listen,
Man, I
to
told you
make
my
a
song.
serious conversation lighthearted, embracing the bumps and bruises, trials and tribulations, we're keeping it real. And, just kind of talking about this, we have to understand that we're not the only ones going through it, right?
Yeah.
But if you sulk and you just stay in bed and you sleep past that alarm and you allow all these challenges and hurdles and obstacles to kind of get the best of you, then that's when you start to become that statistic. You just start to give up and quit,
You
right?
start smelling
And
like
what
the
we're talking about, or what I'm hearing from Chrissy so far and Maria, is that you were able to, maybe in the moment you don't really know what's going on, right? You're embracing those bumps and bruises, but they don't feel good.
No.
Then
No.
afterwards, when you persevere, you kind of get that aha moment and say, you know what? I got through this and it turned out all right. It turned out better than all right.
Just gotta throw this out there.
Add to it, when
ahead.
you're in that dark moment, it's okay to cry. Let
Oh
it
hell
out.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's you
I get a
have
lot
to
of
let it
crying.
out.
That's part of
Holding
the
it in
process.
and blocking it off like it didn't happen, that's just gonna catch up to you down the
But
road.
you want to know something real funny, and I know we gotta hit it home. Two things. One is, you ever look at yourself, cry in the mirror? Damn, you know how ugly you are. I'm just saying that shit will make you laugh. Like you will take the frown and you'll start laughing. Like, oh my god, I don't want to cry anymore. This is okay. I'm sad, but this is really sad because oh my god, what the hell is that? Sometimes you gotta do it. Then you start laughing and you're like, okay, your mood changes. It's
Right.
something
Yeah,
wild in
that's
your
true.
brain. I'm telling you,
You
works.
gotta cry, let it
I
out.
cried a lot in the mirror.
Cry
Hey.
yourself out. And then
Hey, crying and laughing sends dopamines in our minds. So yeah, they're mood
Let
changes.
it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're like, damn, what is that? A moco? No, okay, we can't do that. But another thing I wanted to say is you mentioned staying in bed or whatever. After a while, you're like, you gonna be in these dirty ass soil sheets, or you gonna put some Fabuloso on? You gonna put
That's it.
there, Downy, and you gonna clean this shit up and get up. That's
For
what you
real.
gotta
Take
do.
a little Puerto Rican shower, like just
gotta
just
make
spray
yourself
yourself.
and also while you're in that dark stage, you have to also remember that that's the energy you're giving out to the universe. That's what you're attracting.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why these bad things happen to you. You're
attracting all that.
manifesting them.
Right.
And it becomes a snowball effect. And the bigger the snowball, the harder it is to be able to
And it
pop the snowball.
smells. It smells
It's
like
true.
real good.
Yeah, no.
So cry it out.
Don't shit where you sleep.
Face the challenges and move on. That's it.
That sounds like a
So, Chrissy, I appreciate you anchoring us tonight and this conversation about embracing the bumps and bruises and anchoring us in. Please share with us your story on trials and tribulations.
I think you meant Carly.
You meant Carly?
Carly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carly.
The CC, because you're my wife, he confused
Yeah.
us.
It gets confusing which missus he's talking to. I mean, for me, I think that my biggest challenge that I'm still currently dealing with is my mom's mental health condition that has turned very difficult to cope with. Just to give you an idea, like my mom is very similar to Maria's story, where my mom actually, her brother, which is my godfather, came to the States very young and he called for her and she came at the age of 16. And so she literally she had an eighth grade education. She didn't speak the language, obviously, had no job, had not even entered the workforce because she basically ran the house back at home. And so when she came to the States, she basically started working to build. And then my mom was my best friend. There was nothing that I did not share with her. We spoke every day. And then in 2009, she did have kidney cancer. And unfortunately, she had to have the kidney removed. And I think that started to create some type of paranoia within her that the medication that she had taken all her life for antidepressants and anxiety medication maybe was the culprit that had caused the kidney cancer. So unbeknownst to anybody, she went cold turkey off her medication. And she started little by little, started acting very weird, a little paranoid about something here, something there. my brother and I would speak, and it was just like we would chalk it off like, oh, maybe it's because she's getting older. But it got really serious really fast, and to the point where it's out of control, and she won't seek medicine, medical attention. We've taken her to doctors, she won't take the prescribed medication. We've had her hospitalized, and it's something that breaks my heart, because not only is it hard to see your loved one like that, not even recognizing who they are based off of how they're acting and speaking, but then in addition to that, you lose the friendship, you lose the mother, you lose the bond. You start to realize that you have to go and mourn the death of the person you once knew, and start to adapt to love this new person that you don't know what is going to happen at any given moment. So it was a part of the saddest and most difficult thing I've ever gone through, to the point where I fell into a depression without realizing I was falling into a depression, because all I did was like bury myself in work and kind of like cover up that emotion, because I have that pattern, and I literally don't face the drama. I bury it and don't deal with it until it comes back to bite me in the ass. And basically that's how things usually play out in my life. And throughout this journey with my mother, I think the number one lesson that I came out with is that, in all honesty, it's like you appreciate health and the people in your life so much, but you also have to start to believe that there's a purpose for this, and you will see the light at the end of the tunnel whenever the time God allows that to be. And that has been my mindset that I've been working on throughout the last few years of her illness, because unfortunately there's so many other things that have occurred throughout life that only after many years, or after the process or the situation, did I realize that, like, oh my God, like this made me so much smarter, so much like stronger, so much more experienced, like, or there was a purpose that led to another thing. So there's always a reason. I know that there's so many things and tragedies that are unexplained, and I don't know why God or your higher spiritual being allows certain things to occur, especially with everything that's going on in the world currently. But I do believe that you have to go through the pain, the suffering, the tears, the hell, the difficulties, the anxiety, the challenge, the sleepless nights, all that, in order to really learn the lesson that God is putting before you, or really making that progress or that growth or that change in your life. Whatever. And it's so painful at times, mentally, emotionally, right? But we're like such a different like flower after the experience. We literally transform into something so much more confident, so much more stronger, so much more resilient. And I think that, I pray every day for a miracle for my mom, even though it's pretty much like it is what it is situation, and just pray that God gives me the patience, the guidance to deal with this, however it may be, because it is sad, it is frustrating, it is stressful. So that is my biggest hurdle yet to life.
We'll keep you and your mom in your
And
prayers.
and so, Carly, I just wanted to point out again, I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that personal story
I
with
have
you and
not
your
shared
mom.
that with many people, just so you guys know. That
Carly,
really was
No.
really something that ever
No.
since Anthony asked me to be on the podcast, I've been battling mentally, like, oh my gosh, should I talk about it? Should I not? Should I talk about it? Should I not? Should I put it out there? Should I not? Because
If
I'm
God
very
Absolutely.
private, and I
I
deal with
know.
it, and I don't like the pity, and I don't like the, like, oh my God, well, I feel so bad. Like, I don't like
Right.
that. I like to be like, the one caring for people usually. So when it's like on me, I feel like a little weird and awkward about it. But it was a battle to even decide to even share that. So I do it
Right.
because
Chrissy Maria, wasn't she so strong sharing that? She was so
We're
strong,
very
right? That was
strong.
great.
It was.
well, I'll tell you why. And this is why I believe in some type of spiritual being, because I was also raised Catholic, but over time I just started reading into different religions, and I realized that there is a higher being, but we just don't know in what shape or format it is. And I just believe to pray and be spiritual. So, something came across my feed the other day that what was it? It was something in relation to talking about mental illness and talking about awareness and everything else. And I felt like that was like my sign that I need to get over my own shit and being like embarrassed by it, so to speak, because you don't never want
Mm.
anybody to assume like, oh, my mom's not crazy, or she's got like bipolarism or down paranoia or schizophrenia. That's not crazy. It's a type of mental illness, but unfortunately, the uneducated are going to label it as crazy, and I didn't want to experience that. So that shame was what was prohibiting me from speaking my truth. But then I realized
Speak your truth.
how
You are
much
like
more,
that.
Thank you,
how
my
much
love.
more people can I help or be even a support system for, or each other, because they may be going through the same thing. Because I know a few people that went through hell with this type of situation, and even before my mom's, and I didn't even know how it even all worked and played out. But yeah, it's a constant thing that you're constantly, it's like training for like a bodybuilding competition. It's like you train and you build your back muscles and you build your glute muscles and your calves and this and the other, and until hopefully everything is perfect for you to step on stage and hopefully take the trophy. And I feel like that is like the challenge. You got to just kind of work on it little by little. You got to heal, you got to figure out a solution, you got to do this, you got to do that, until it's
You
finally
gotta
all done.
pivot.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like we talked about, just kind of working on that one thing, right? Just adding up more good days than bad.
Right.
And they say that sometimes when you express yourself or you kind of get it off your chest, so they say, it's a part of recovery. So I just have to ask Carly now, you mentioned holding that, do you feel better, or that you kind of put that out there, and how does that make you feel now that you are kind of able to share this?
Well, the only way I found out that I was in a depression is because I went to go get a massage, which came to find out she was also a therapist, and she literally treated me for a year and actually helped me get over my shit with the depression and just like learn to love my mom, my new mom. But like I'll never forget, like 6 months into the therapy, I was in her kitchen having tea with her before we went in for a massage, and she was just like talking to me, and she's like, you know what, Carly, you just have to accept that your mom died. And I was like, I'm gonna pounce over this counter and kill this bitch. Like, my mom's
Mm,
alive. Like, how would she say
mm-hmm.
that? Like, what is she, crazy? And I realized what she meant. It was the death of my mom that I knew, and not the physical mom. You know what I mean? So when you start to kind of like reprocess things differently from a different perspective, and that helps you, that was like mind changing for me right there. Once I started
Mm.
to literally process and accept that truth and realize that that's my new reality, and be okay with it and not be upset about it, and just be grateful I have the figure, even if it's just a figure in my presence. um you start to appreciate things differently in different things. You know what I mean? Like, I think the challenge makes you realize so much more deeper things that we tend to ignore in the day-to-day busyness. So I mean, it's a journey. It's a constant journey, and you just need to just have the faith and keep on pushing. As Maria said, the
Now,
resilience is everything.
I love the point, right? Speak your truth, and the last point, accept the new reality.
But
I
yeah, it
can
did help a little
imagine.
bit more. I'm sorry, to answer your question, it did help a little bit more.
It's
Say that
okay.
again. Say that again.
Heard that.
It did help a little bit to get it off my chest tonight too. A little bit more. Like, I feel a little bit lighter.
There you go. Yeah, roundtable remedies. This is
I
what
know
it's
I
all
took a
about.
long turn to get to that answer.
It's
Put
okay,
around.
as long as we arrive to where we gotta go.
Carly,
You know.
know that Chrissy and I are here also as well. So
Thank
not only
you.
on the round
Ditto,
table, but if
ditto,
you need
ditto.
to go meet with us later on or another day or whatever to, talk, we have girl time. We're here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's so health. That's self care.
Anthony, we can have boy time too. I'm
You can
sorry.
come
You know,
in.
I got my dogs on the Latino Chamber of Commerce. So it's all
Oh
right. We'll have
yeah,
our
they'll
boy
be
time
I
doing
don't
too.
want to
You know,
discriminate,
just throwing it out there. Those, by the way, that are watching, you wouldn't know, but the four of us actually sit on a board for a statewide Latino Chamber of Commerce. And, this is one of the organizations that we volunteer in these positions. And, I just appreciate that we can kind of come together outside of our traditional roles and our professional day-to-day activities to come on the show and kind of share this. What I was going to say about accepting new reality is, Maria and Chris, I can imagine with some of your stories, just kind of accepting the new reality, right, Chrissy? Just kind of transitioning from in health and in work, and Maria just kind of coming to a whole new country. Chrissy, first, how did that make you feel? What would you say about accepting the new reality?
The new accepting new reality is there's things that I cannot change, and I'm constantly reminded of that. And I think we kind of hit the nail on the head over and over. Like, we can control what we can't control, and sometimes I fall back, but then I'm constantly reminded. I will say this though, I can't dance as much as I used to because it throws me all out. That's my new reality, but I know now I have to live within those means. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I also feel like we have done put certain things in my life just to slow the hell down because I was a little out there.
I
Mhm.
don't know. We were all there for that Tunnels to
Gala, did
Towers
you? I
installation
have
event, and you was just lighting up the dance floor. So
I have
I'm sorry.
footage
I'm
of that.
sorry.
I
That
have
was
real
awesome.
footage.
Yes.
Maria, what about you accepting the new reality?
Accepting the reality as that little girl coming to America was hard because I thought we were on vacation and vacation, the days kept rolling and we weren't going back.
But
And,
mommy, you're on vacation.
You're
when,
still on vacation, mommy.
later on, then when we were going to vacation to back to DR, we knew we came back right before school started. So my dad would send me every summer from the last day of school
Same.
through September to go back to my country, just so that I didn't forget my language, I didn't forget my religion, my culture. While my cousins were playing, I'm up at 8 having breakfast, and I'm going to CCD classes. I have a tutor coming in to teach me how to write, read Spanish. And today I'm grateful for that. Speaking of bumps and bruises and embracing it, right? Today,
Yeah,
my
I'm telling you.
job requires me to be able to speak Spanish in the Spanish communities. And here I am able to facilitate workshops in dual languages. So it kind of paid off,
Oh yes.
I have to say. But
Oh
it
yes.
wasn't easy. So, and it
And
also taught
so
me adaptability. I have to adapt to the new environment, and keep adapting, and just be strong.
so
Mhm.
fortunately and unfortunately, we hit that part of the show where we're gonna go over our final thoughts. So in the final thoughts segment of the show, we kind of just wrap it up with a couple remedies where we want to leave with our viewers. And again, if you're watching on the live, please hashtag live. And if you're hashtag replay, if you're watching on the replay. And in speaker rotation, final thoughts. Chrissy.
Mine is simple. Don't stop dancing. Never stop.
Dance through the storm, right, Chrissy?
Dance right through the storm.
Dance to
Uh-huh.
the storm.
I love
You know,
that.
Maria, any final thoughts?
Back to my favorite quote: "I rise by lifting others," and going back to that analogy from the beginning. In order to embrace the rainbow, you have to have weathered the storm. So stay strong out there.
Stay strong.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
last but not
On the
least,
hot seat. I don't know what to say after those.
Yes, you
After
do, girl.
it's all out there, right? I said what I had to say.
I know. I'm like, yeah, whatever they said. That's good.
No, no. So look, final thoughts, right?
No, no,
So,
no.
you talked a lot. You shared something about very personal in regards to your depression. And again, I mentioned earlier on the show, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. We all go through our stuff, but it's how we handle it, right? And you talked about a lot of points, Carly. So, what are some of your final thoughts to encourage someone if they're going through some bumps and bruises?
I mean, listen, I think that life is so crazy and hectic, and the more technology we have, the busier we seem to be, which is kind of like counterproductive, but it's disconnect. It's to have time for yourself. It's grounding. It's even having like no cell phone time with even friends and having like real
Mhm.
conversations and real connections. That is like we exchange energy. Like we are a frequency and we will exchange energy and feed off of energy and surround yourself with people that are optimistic, motivated, hopeful, faithful, spiritual, like people that love, people that are
Mhm.
open hearted. Spend time with good people. Good people will help heal so much aside from your isolation time and everything else. And honestly, have faith because it will come to fruition if you truly believe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I always like to close the show with a closing quote. So this is from Melody Beattie. says gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. For those that are watching, go in grace, go in peace. Speakers, hang out with me in the afterglow. I hope that you were inspired. Stay connected. And again, this is Anthony Rosa, Mr. Remedy. You're watching another show on the Roundtable Remedies. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.